I want to tell a story first before I bring up the invocation. I've known this gentleman for close to 60 years. I was at his 5th birthday party where he was the only one that caught a fish in Deal Lake, New Jersey. And then all through high school, he was playing organ and doing things. He went to a different high school. They were too big. They went to Ocean Township High School. We went to Asbury Park. And then 20-some years ago, I was at a convention in Dallas, Texas, my first NFB convention. And somebody at the table said, "Where are you from?" And I said, "Well, I could be from Colorado. I've lived there. And I could be from New Jersey." He said, "I hope you're from Allenhurst, New Jersey." I said, "I am." And it was Rick Fox. And we've reestablished our relationship. And we go back 60 years. So this is great. This is what I talk about this organization, how great it is. Ladies and gentlemen, Howard, our invocation tonight is Mr. Rick Fox.
Let us assume an attitude of prayer or reflection. Loving God, bless this food for our use and us for your service. Thank you for the National Federation of the Blind of New Jersey and for this convention. Help the people in this room rekindle the dreams of those who have been stifled by low expectations. Renew the hopes of those discouraged by a lack of good training or a lack of good information about blindness. Reinvigorate the love of all of us for one another and for all blind people. Amen.
Thank you, Rick. Can I have your attention?
This banquet is dedicated, among other things, to the memory of Rebecca Bryant, who died a few months ago. She was a tireless leader and worker in this organization. And I believe that her husband Solomon and her family is here. And so we remember Rebecca Bryant.
Thank you, Rick. Before we get started with the jokes and everything, I had a lot of people come up to me today and talk to me about business enterprise. A lot of people still want to talk to me. Let me give out my phone number, 973-7420. No, I'm teasing.
Hi, what table is this?
That number just got disconnected.
Hi, what table is this?
I would like to thank some people first before we get started. First of all, let me thank you. I know how hard it works. You know how hard they work. Joe and Judy Ruffalo, but we're not doing this chair.
I'm sorry.
No.
We talked about convention earlier today. The agenda was phenomenal. I thought everything. What did you think, you guys, for this convention? What did you think, everybody?
What's your name?
Okay, my name's Jen.
I'd also like to thank our national rep, Rosa.
Can I help you?
For those, she's the state president. She sits on our national board. She's an entrepreneur, and she runs daycare at National Convention. We've known each other for a number of years when we used to do something called Snack Pack. We may be bringing it back to Las Vegas this year. But Carla works her. I know how hard these state presidents work, and I want to thank both of them. And I'd also like to thank my wife, Kathy, who's here with us tonight, for letting me travel the way I travel and do the work of the Merchants Division, the Entrepreneur Division. So I want to thank all of the people sitting to my right now and thank them for all the hard work that they do and give them a big hand for it. Okay. So I had a friend, he was from New York, and he was in the furniture business. He loved furniture. He used to go to Greece and buy furniture. He went to Italy and bought furniture. And this year he happened to go to France and buy furniture. And he was all excited that he bought some great pieces of furniture for his furniture store in New York. And he was so excited that he went out that night and sat in a little cafe and had a glass of wine. And there was one seat next to him. And this young lady came by, and she didn't speak English, he didn't speak French, and he asked her to sit down, and then he drew a picture of a glass of wine, and she shook her head, and they had a glass of wine together. Then they went and drew a picture of chicken and some dinner and said, and she said yes, and so they had dinner together. Then he drew a picture of dancing. The band was playing, and she said yes. And they started dancing together. And then she drew a picture of a bed. And he said, my friend from New York said, how did she know I was in the furniture business? I have a couple of quotes for you here. Abraham Lincoln said, the best way to get rid of an enemy is to make him your friend. And that's one thing the Federation has taught me. We'll get rid of a lot of enemies by making them our friend and showing them the real way of the Federation. This year at Blast, coming up next week, in 2 weeks in San Antonio, Texas, the state of Oregon blind vendors will be having their annual meeting at Blast. Yay! And that's huge, because Carla can tell you, most of them, or a few of them, or the few radical ones, are not part of our organization.
They're a mess.
They're a mess. She said it, I can say it now.
They're a mess.
But I can tell you, where are they coming to? An NFB function conference called Blast. So when Abraham Lincoln says, best way to get rid of an enemy is make him your friend, we're doing that. And that's part of the Federation. Also, Abraham Lincoln told a story once. He couldn't beat General Lee. And he wanted to get Ulysses S. Grant to defeat General Lee. And he was told by his advisors not to do that because General Grant was an alcoholic. He drank too much whiskey. You know what President Lincoln said to his commandants there? Find out what whiskey he's drinking and give that to all my other generals, because that's the juice I want them drinking. I think we drink that here too, don't we? Enjoy your dinner, Lou. Just for everyone to know, there is a cash bar at the back of the room. Jerry Marino's buying. Linda, Linda, come on up. I have a question for you.
Hi, I'm Jen. Nice to meet you. You look like somebody. If you go to that place, eat in. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And this is 2014. I fell in love with the job. Well, I worked and then I was director. What I was
Anne-Marie Cook, can we get a couple of auction items ready? And we need a door prize ready too. Also, it's going to be last call in 10 minutes. Last call in 10 minutes. Are we ready for a door prize? Door prize. We have a name for a door prize. Do we have a name for a door prize? Let's hear the name.
And the winner is Agamous.
We have a winner.
Alma, please raise your hand so we're going to find you. You're in here. Oh, you got it. Come on down. Be Excuse me. Excuse me.
Hello, good evening, and can I have your attention, please? Thank you all for joining us at the banquet. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce our head table. On our far left is Marty Jensen and Mario Tobia from Mid-Atlantic Golf Association. Yeah, let's give it up for them, people. And next to them is our own distinguished honoree tonight, Brian Mackey. Yeah, Brian. And next to Brian is David Ruiz, who is the husband of Kim Ruiz, who is the executive director of the Puerto Rican Association for Human Development. So give it up for Brian, people. On the other side of the podium is Nikki Keiko, president of the Business Enterprise. And next to Nikki is Mrs. Kathy Keiko, who probably deserves a medal. And then we have Judy Ruffalo, who probably deserves 2 medals. Who is our first lady, so make sure we give it up good for our first lady. And next to her is our esteemed fearless leader, Joseph Ruffalo. I give the mic to so thank you all for coming and joining us at our 42nd state convention, Live the Life You Want, Blind with Vision. And I will now turn it over to our Master of Ceremonies, Nikki Keikos.
Well, I've been hanging out with Joe too long. That was my job to do tonight. So Linda, how about introducing the head table? Talk about a small world. Our guest down here from the Golf Association walked in there and I said, geez, I know a guy that's a real good golfer too. I said, he's a friend of a person that works with us. He said, that's my sister. Can you imagine that? I was with her last week in Chicago at the National Convention out there. Small world. Welcome. Welcome, everybody. Do we have an auction gift?
Oh, auction.
We need an auction gift before we... Let's do 2 now. And then we're going to bring up our banquet speaker.
I wanted to auction off
The bar is closing in 5 minutes now. As they used to say at the Jersey Shore, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here for alcohol. Last call for alcohol.
Okay. How about, would someone like to buy some beautiful blankets?
Oh, you need it. Hold on, let's get the mic.
You need a microphone, Ellen. You need a microphone. I can't even hear you. Ellen, you're all right, we have a very, very lovely, gorgeous, homemade Afghan, and it's attached with 2 matching pillows, and made by Sherry Rollins. It is lovely. So I don't know where we want to start off the bidding. Does someone want to offer a number?
$1.
What colors? Okay, Sherry, you want to shut? Oh no, I think there's. Okay, it's on the label. And it goes.
Wait, someone's shouting.
Hold on a second. So it is a vibrant blue, pink, white, and gray with 2 accompanying colorful throw pillows. And green.
So somebody shout out their name and a price.
Ida, $20. Yay!
All right, Ida's giving us $20. They got 25?
We got $20. Can I get $50? Can I get 50 for their Afghan? This is for the organization. We need some money here. We got 50. Martinez.
Hey, Marty says 60.
Marty says 60. We got $60 for the Afghan. Jane, phone. We got $60. We got $60 for Marty.
You get the pillows too.
You get 2 pillows. It's a full blanket.
65. Marino, 65.
Ruffalo 70. Sorry, Jerry. We got 65 Marino, 70 Ruffalo. We got 75 Marino. He'll throw in the curlers too. We got Judy Ruffalo 80. We got Judy Ruffalo 80. Come on, North Carolina. 85 Marino. We got 85 from our friend from North Carolina, Jerry Marino. Judy Ruffalo 90. Come on, Jerry, you can't let somebody from Jersey outdo you, okay? You're going to need this in North Carolina. We know you went through a rough time down here. You're going to need this blanket and pillow, Jerry. 95 Marino. Can we get 100 for this? Can we get 100 for this? Judy Ruffalo 100. She said, come on, she wants it. She said, Jerry's not going to take this. So she wants those curlers, though. Can I get 105 from our friend from North Carolina? We miss you, New Jersey, Jerry. 105. We got 105 from Jerry Marino. 100 a quarter from somebody up here. Joe Ruffalo, 125. We got one. Come on, Jerry. 125 going once. Twice. Sold for $125. Second item, second auction item. What's our second auction item? We're lending. Do we have a second auction item? Here we come.
A lovely, lovely Wawa basket, a lot of Wawa swag, and it has a Dunkin' Donuts certificate. I got $20.
Oh my God. I just like in there.
Well, it has like cups and it has a T-shirt and an insulated lunch bag and a Dunkin'.
We got $50. $50. They got Dunkin' Donuts in North Carolina right here. We got $50. $50 going once. Can I get 55?
60 Ruffalo.
60 Ruffalo. Keep it in the family here.
Jane, I'm buying it for you.
Oh. Is that one of?
Or is it a
Yes.
ploy?
Is that a boy? You know, your brother. What do you think?
Is it a ploy?
I
Jane phone.
more. Come on, Jane.
70 Denshire. I'm trying to make up a name for you. Go write the check. We got $70. 70 going once. You're not trusting your brother? 70 going twice. Sold to the person with the phone over there, Gene. Can I have your attention, please? One thing I enjoy so much about Master Ceremonies at this event is that I get to introduce the national speaker to our banquet. Carla McQuillan is a president of the National Federation of the Blind of Oregon. She is a national board member. She is an entrepreneur. She runs daycare at our national convention, and she is a friend. And it's exciting that it's her first time to New Jersey to do this. Is it your first time to New Jersey also? It's her first time to New Jersey. So let's give her a big New Jersey welcome to our friend and our banquet speaker, Carla McQuillan.
Hey, how you doing? When I say the word travel, people tend to think of sandy white beaches, beautiful crystal clear waters, maybe a cruise to exotic destinations. When I say travel in a room full of blind people, typically that has a whole different set of images that come to mind. So in his book, The Wanderess, Roman Paine wrote, travel comes from the old French word travail or travailler. Aren't you impressed I don't speak French? Meaning to work, to labor, a suffering or painful effort, an arduous journey, a tormenting experience. Now, reflecting on some of my travel experiences as a blind individual, I have to say to myself, is my friend Roman a blind guy? Now, I'm not talking about self-inflicted torment and suffering and pain. Lord knows I've been through enough of that. One of my favorite examples was I attended the Colorado Center for the Blind. And my goal was to learn to read Braille. But apparently they had different goals for me, which included travel. And I have some residual vision, just enough to get me in trouble, is what I tell people. And I remember one day when I was out traveling with Eric Woods, who was my travel instructor, and Julie Deaton, and we were heading from the Colorado Center to the coffee shop, which was right by the light rail station, a trek I had traveled many times before. And I'm out in the lead because, you know what, I got my sleep shades on and I'm just going, and I've been there for a couple of weeks and I think I know what I'm doing, and I'm just tap, tap, tap on my cane. I go into the coffee shop, I get myself a cup of coffee, and I'm heading back. And for those of you who are familiar with the Colorado Center for the Blind, when you're heading at there's a T intersection, and there's a sign as you're walking along the sidewalk that I was walking, that is not on the sidewalk, but right next to it. So in my right hand is my cane, and my left hand is my cup of coffee, but my elbow apparently didn't know that it was not supposed to be protruding out beyond the arc of my cane. And I'm moving fast because that's what I do. I grew up with a brother who, if I didn't run, I would be left in the dust. So I learned to walk fast, and that's kind of what I do. And so I come moving fast, my elbow hits the post of the sign, and the cup of coffee slams against my chest. The lid flies up in the air, and there's this virtual fountain of coffee that then comes landing all over my favorite, ready, white cotton sweater. Yeah, this is, yeah. Thank you for feeling my pain and suffering on this one. And it's all over me. Now, I'm sure that the words that escaped my mouth were not acceptable for any of the children I work with, or probably anybody. And God love Eric Woods is behind me and says, something wrong, boss? And I said, no, I'm just fine. So we head back to the Colorado Center. I took the last few sips of the coffee in my cup that I had paid for, get back to the center and went into the bathroom immediately, despite the fact that it is February. I took my white sweater off and washed it out in the sink because I am getting this coffee out. This is my favorite cotton blouse or sweater. I'm not letting this go. So I wash it out. I bring it out as best I can. I put it back on. Yes, I did. I know. And I don't even have memory of being freezing, although I'm sure that was part of the equation. And I decided to reward myself with a cup of coffee from the kitchen because mine was all over my sweater. So I poured myself a cup of coffee and I started walking across the Colorado Center. Now, I'm under sleep shades, so I'm totally, every minute of every day, I'm under sleep shades. And I'm walking along and I tap my cane on someone who is by the vending machine. I know this. And I say, hey, and my friend Angela Fowler, any of you know her, I love Angela, spins around and says, hey, and slams into me. And no, I'm not kidding. Once again, coffee all over myself. So I consider this a self-inflicted travel experience that I'd rather not repeat. I'm talking, when I talk about the suffering and pain, I can only blame myself on stuff like that. I am talking about encounters with other people. And when I reflected back when I was putting this speech together, and I thought, okay, so I thought about all of my tormenting experiences in travel as a blind person, and I grouped them into 3 different categories: planes, trains, and automobiles. I travel a lot. I travel a lot for the National Federation of the Blind. I travel a lot, as Nikki told you, as a business owner. I run Montessori schools in Oregon. So thank you. Yes, Montessori is awesome. So I attend and present workshops at a number of different Montessori conferences. And it so happened that I was attending a Montessori conference with 5 of my staff members. Now, I'm the boss, just keep that in mind. And in my little airport, I fly out of Eugene, Oregon, and it's getting bigger, and so the planes are getting bigger. But at the time, it was a little, 2 and 2 little regional jet. And I come to get onto the plane, and the flight attendant literally does this spread eagle barring me from entering the plane and says, they're supposed to tell me when people like you are coming on board. Yes, she did. And I smiled, and she said, where are you sitting? And I said, well, just right around the corner, 1A, just let me on in. So I sit down. She then proceeds to go to my staff members, the people I pay, and says, are you taking care of her? Now, my staff's all laughing out loud because they're like, no, actually, she's taking care of us, which of course mortified the flight attendant. And the only here was the other thing she said. You do know that when we get to San Francisco, you are going to have to climb down the steps. Now, if I were on my game, which unfortunately I'd like to say I was, but I would have said, oh, really? So what are you suggesting? That when we get there, or that I should deboard the plane right now to avoid stairs, or when I get there, you're going to carry me down? But I did not. And I smiled and I said, yes, I'm fine with stairs. Thank you very much. I was pleased to know that I was not the only person she offended on the aircraft. So I kind of chalked that up to, yeah, that's just her. I was flying for the National Federation of the Blind. I was a national rep. I can't even tell you where I was going. But I'm waiting to board the plane. and my name gets called, which is never a good sign, right? Okay, sometimes it is if they upgrade you to first class, but I was not thinking this was what was going to happen. But I go up to the counter, and the attendant says, "Oh, well, I saw that you were way in the back of the plane and you have status, and I moved you forward in the plane, but the only seat we had available was an exit row." And I said, "Okay." And he said, "So you know, I don't have a better seat to put you in. So when you get into the aircraft, would you please let the flight attendant know that you're seated in an exit row and you need to be reseated?" And I said, "Okay." And I board the plane. Now, one of the things that I've observed about the tormentors in my life, the people who make the pain and suffering become real for me when I travel, is they're usually older. You guys all get this? They're older, right? So I walk in the plane and there's this sweet young flight attendant, and I dutifully told her, the guy out there tells me that I need to be reseated. And she says, "Really? Why?" I said, "I'm not sure." She says, "Well, are you okay sitting in the exit row?" I got my white cane right in my hand. And I said, "Yes, I am. I can do this. I'm probably more equipped to do this than most of the other people on this aircraft." And she says, "Okay, we'll have a seat." So I did. And I'm in the window seat in an exit row. And then my tormentor came down the aisle. She was an older flight attendant. And she comes down and she stops and she says, "I'm sorry, ma'am, but we need to reseat you." And I said, "Really?" Now I've been through the process, and I'm not planning to move easily. And I said, "Why?" She says, "Well, it's safety reasons." Now, I was on my game for this one. And I said, "Really? Do you prohibit people who sit in the exit row from consuming alcoholic beverages?" Bam! The answer is no. And she did not know how to respond. And she said, no, but you. And I said, "Me what?" I said, "Do you know who I am?" Well, of course, the answer was no. And then she was a little surprised at what I was about to say. And I said, "I work with children. I have a staff of 25 people, and I work with 100 children at my school. If there is anyone who is going to be able to get these people out of this aircraft in a timely fashion, I'm your girl. You don't want to move me." So there's an older couple sitting next to me, and they're just cracking up. And they look at the flight attendant and they go, "You know what? I'd rather have her there than me." She walked away. She let me sit in the exit row. Score one up. Yeah. Now, I'm gonna move to automobiles before trains, because the way that the story goes, you'll see when I get there, it actually makes more sense. So I attended which I do frequently, a Washington State Convention of the National Federation of the Blind. They're right next door. I take the train, it's easy. So I had just been at a Washington State Convention, had a lovely time. I get on a train, oh no, wait, automobiles, sorry. Getting ahead of myself, yeah. Automobiles, thank you, Judy, for keeping me to I got my notes right in front of me, but apparently I went on to trains, which is Judy, I'm going too fast. What you doing? All right, so I'm getting ready to leave the convention. I call a cab, I walk out the door of the hotel, I get in the cab, and the cab driver goes, "Wow, you did that really well." I have no idea what the guy's talking about. And I'm like, "Yeah? What? Oh, you just found the door. Now, I've been there all weekend. I've been in and out of that door. You know, you got the mat in front of the door. You know how to find a door, right?" And I kind of just smiled and said, "Yeah, okay, I'm going to the train station." So we start off, and the guy goes, "Do you know," I don't know, John Blow, I don't know what his name was. And I think if there's some reason I should know this name. And I go, "You know, why?" Well, he's a deaf guy. Oh, of course. Of course. We should all know each other. And I said, no, I don't know that man. And we drive on. And the guy goes, have you ever thought of speech? This is what he says. I'm like, speech. And I'm going, not thinking about my computer. I have no idea. And I go, huh? And he says, speech therapy. Wouldn't that be a good thing for you guys to do? Okay. So I proceed to try to talk to him about what I do. Grateful for the moment when I get to the train station and I think this tormenting part of my experience is over. Oh no. Then I get on the train. And I am seated next to a woman. I sit down. Now, mind you, I've just been at a state convention. I am wearing a suit. I have heels on. I have my briefcase. I look like a professional, and at this point in time, I'm probably 40 years old, right? This woman next to me goes, hello. I don't like talking to people in general next to me, because particularly when they start with stuff like this, because I know it's not going to end well. She says, are you visually impaired? Yes, I am. And I proceed to talk about how I've just been at a convention of the National Federation of the Blind, blah, 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 blah. And she says, are you a student? And I'm thinking to myself, is there anything about me and the way I'm looking and the way I'm dressed that says to you, I'm a student? No, says I. And I proceed to tell her what I do. Well, then she says, are you married? Now, aside from the fact that I think this is just a little personal, I turn to her and I say, yes, I am. I've been married for 20 years. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, and I'm thinking to myself, talk to my husband. He probably thinks it's amazing right now, too. He's been with me for 20 years. God love his soul. And then she says, do you have children? Now, at this point, I have to stop and think, because I have a daughter at this point in my life, and my daughter is 14 years old. And she has an attitude like you would not believe. Let me give you an example. How many of you remember Mr. Cobb, Tony Cobb? All right. He, for those of you who don't know Tony Cobb, is Dr. Jernigan's son-in-law and used to be in charge of convention affairs. All right. My 14-year-old daughter at a national convention in Detroit, no, I think she was only 11 at the time, national convention in Detroit, Michigan, standing at an elevator. The elevators were really bad in '94 in Detroit. And someone pushes the button, the doors open, the elevator fills, but there's still people waiting to get in, right? So the doors start to close, and apparently someone pushes the button up again, and the doors pop open, and everybody inside goes, ah, right? And this happens a couple of times before my 11-year-old daughter turns to the man pushing the button and says, if you would just wait until the doors are closed and the elevator moves, then we could get another elevator. That was my daughter talking to Tony Cobb. So when this woman asks me, when I say, she says, do you have children? And I say yes. And she said, isn't that great? I had to hesitate just for a moment, because sometimes in my life, you've had teenagers, you understand, it is not always great. And I said, truthfully, sometimes. Now, I'm about done with this discussion. I'm tired, I've had a long weekend, and I do not suffer fools well, and I'm afraid I'm going to get ugly, right, with this woman. So I close my eyes and feign sleep. And she taps me on the shoulder. And she says, "Excuse me, you are visually impaired, right?" Now, we've established this, so I know there is something below the surface here. And I don't think I even responded, I just turned and stared. Here it comes. She said, "You can't make this stuff up, I am not kidding you." She says, "It's just that you seem so normal." Now, my friends, my Federation family, I am here to tell you that had I not been a member of the National Federation of the Blind, a member of the National Board of Directors, president of my state affiliate, this might have crushed me. I might have withered into a little ball and really questioned how normal I was. But, and I'm going to give you something that you should take with you and carry with you every day of your life. My husband teaches speech communication at the community college, and he does this fabulous presentation about communication climate, and he talks about disconfirming messages. And here's the thing to take home. A message is only disconfirming to the extent that the recipient perceives it to be. So you can say whatever you want about me, but if I don't buy into it, you can't hurt me. You will not touch my soul. You will not take away who I am, and I will not let it touch me. Don't you forget that. A message is only disconfirming to the extent that the recipient perceives it to be. I was happy to see that this woman lost interest in me and started talking trashy novels with someone across the aisle. But all of that having been said, I think about these incidences, right? And all of these things happened over a decade ago. And I went back and I looked and I thought, gosh, don't I have any ugly stories from more recent than that? So Benjamin Dover, he goes by Ben. Sorry, it's true. Benjamin Dover is a journalist, and I had to throw that in. And you know, I've given this speech, and you guys, you New Jersey guys, I knew you would get that right away because you got Joe. No, mostly I say that and everybody just moves right along. They don't even laugh. They don't chuck a couple of chuckles in it. Benjamin Dover, the journalist, said, "It's okay to look back as long as you don't stare." Yeah? I like that. Yeah. So when President Riccobono asked me if I would be interested in running for the national board again in 2014, I said, "Really? Why?" He said, "Because I'm looking for forward-thinking people." So I'm putting this stuff together for my 2014 on Banquet address. And I go, I'm looking back. I'm not looking forward. And then I remembered Dawes, the musical group. Don't know if you know them. If you don't, you should. They're fabulous. Lyrics from one of their songs. "The only point of charts and maps, the only point of looking back is to see how far you've come." And I look at how far we've come. When I think of the incidences in travel that I have experienced in recent years, it's different. It's better. It's not perfect, but it's better than it used to be. Do you know why we no longer say changing what it means to be blind? That was our old slogan, right? Because I think we have changed what it means to be blind. I think it's getting better. It's not perfect. We're not all the way there. But things are definitely different than they were 20 and 30 years ago. People ask if I need help more than they grab me. The older people still do. But the younger people, now somebody said to me, maybe they just don't care. Well, maybe they just don't care. Okay, I don't care. They don't touch me. They don't grab at me. They mostly ask if I need help. When we did our Bell Academy a few years ago, there were 3 blind adults and 6 blind kids. And we went to the Oregon Museum of Science and Industry, right? We go into this place, and I will tell you, the only person who tried to grab me and direct me was an old guy who was a volunteer there. Nobody else. Nobody even asked if we needed help. We were autonomous in that crowd, and it was refreshing to me that we were able to walk unscathed through the gauntlet of sighted people with nobody messing with us. So why is that? Why have we changed things so much in the past 20 or 30 years? I think it's our training centers. I think, yes, give an applause for the training centers. I think that the quality of training that our blind people are getting in this country today on a much broader scale than we had 30 and 40 years ago. We're out there and we're independent and we're showing the world that we can live the lives we want and do what we want to do. And if we need help, it's our responsibility to ask. It's not their responsibility to assume. And I think it's made a difference. Now, let's go back and talk about those tormentors, those people who wish pain and suffering upon those of us, because they're still out there. What about our fellow blind people who do not know the National Federation of the Blind? Are we out there?
Yeah.
Are we helping them? Are we showing them that there's another way, that they don't have to feel ashamed, that blindness is not what defines them or their future? We have to. We can't let the tormentors define our future or change what we think about ourselves. My Federation family and friends, it is our responsibility to be out there and helping. We have each other. We know this. This is why we come together, because when I come together with you, it rejuvenates me. It makes me so much more committed to the notion that I am the person I want to be and I can do whatever I want to do. But we all know how rough it is when you go out there. Think about people who don't have us to fall back on. Please reach out to people and remember those disconfirming messages coming from those tormentors cannot allow you to diminish your dreams or keep you from realizing the dreams that you have as a blind individual. You can live the life you want. Blindness is not what holds you back, and the National Federation of the Blind is here. We are all here for you. And the families, yeah. And the families who have brought all their children here this weekend, I have been so warmed and strengthened in my heart that we are reaching out to people when they need us the most. Nurture them, bring them along, because we all know the National Federation of the Blind is the place to be. If you really want to know the truth about blindness, believe in yourself and realize whatever dreams you have and live the life you want. Thank you so much.
Well, a couple of things. When I travel a lot, and if I want to see if Carla wants to do the extra roll on my tree, planes, that's for sure. That is for sure. Carla, thank you so much. That was just wonderful. Welcome to New Jersey, and we'll have you back anytime. We have a door prize for that speech.
Yeah.
Okay, hi everybody. I just wanted to say something real quick. It's Kelly Ruffalo. Some of you know me. You know, if you don't, here I am. I'm Joe and Judy Ruffalo's daughter-in-law. I married their son Jimmy Ruffalo. And I just wanted to raise a glass to each and every one of you because I met all of you exactly 10 years ago. So I've known you all since 2008. So I love all of you in the NFB, and it's a great organization. Have a great night.
While we're waiting for the door prize, the other thing I want to say is this is the first time we've had a cash bar. So if you have a drink and Carla walks by you, be real careful. And if you see Carla tomorrow morning and you have your coffee, be very, very careful. I hope it wasn't Dunkin' Donuts coffee she was drinking out there. I hope it was Starbucks. We have a door prize.
Yes, we have a door prize.
We have a door prize.
So we have, I can only talk so. So we have a Bluetooth speaker and a commemorative Orlando t-shirt. And that's going to Mary Jo Carnico.
Three auction gifts. We need to do 3 auction gifts. Our auction committee. We need 2 auction gifts. 3 auction gifts. And while we're waiting for the auction gifts, bring the heavy hitters.
Okay, Anne Moran.
One more time, can we have a big round of applause for our Carla McClellan? Thank you, Carla, for coming. Okay, so I'm going to take off the mic for a minute. We're going to give you our president, Mr. Joe Ruffalo.
No jokes.
Hold on, Ellen. Carol's here. Carol, you here?
I'm here, Joe.
All right, your checkbook ready? Good, okay. All right, here we go. Many years ago, as a gag, I found a picture, and I said, we'll just blow it up and frame it and see what we get for it. And Carol spent $100 for it. Wow. We have a new tradition. And that was about 15 years ago. So some of you scholarship winners, just think, some of that money came from Carol and everybody else here too. So today I have another picture. She has pictures of me in my Cub Scout uniform, when I was in the Army. A picture of me, I think in the 7th grade with my big pompadour hairdo like Elvis Presley. She has one, believe it or not, with my afro. That's my leisure suit, all that good stuff. Today I have a picture here. I have a picture here that we took in a picture in Bermuda. We went on a nice cruise this summer. Saved up our nickels and dimes. We went on a beautiful cruise. Before that, I had gone to the VA hospital. I had some stuff on my leg and whatever. And I said to the doctor, says, looking really good. Like, this thing on my side of my face just happened a few days ago. And he looked at it and scraped it and sent it away for a biopsy and all that kind of stuff. It was cancerous, and he took it out, and we're going for a full body scan soon and whatever. But he said, I said I was going on vacation. Stand in the sun. I said, I'm going on a cruise. He's going to stand in the sun. I'm going to Bermuda. He says, okay, here's what you need to do. Get all the lotion you can. He told me what lotion to buy and
It's this spray, makes you wear a hat, all this good stuff. So here we are in Bermuda, beautiful, nice, windy, beautiful day, nice and hot. We get to rent our chairs, go to rent an umbrella. Sorry, sir, it's too windy today, no umbrellas. What do I do now? So negative into positive. We had 2 or 4 large towels on the ship. They give me these big giant towels. Dude, I'm sitting in this chair. I'm gonna put a towel across my waist. It's gonna go from my waist down to my feet. The other one, I put it on my shoulder. I have a baseball cap on, my sunglasses. I look like a raccoon looking through a window. So, as a sheik of Arabic, because the chair was beautiful. Carol, what? It's me sitting in the beach chair with these towels draped over me, my baseball cap on, with a stupid grin. Carol, you want to start the bidding? 2 cents! The frame cost me 3 cents. At least cover the frame. And with this, wait a minute. We started this little tradition too. With this goes, I bought a dozen Italian pastries, 6 lobster tails, or pear claws, everybody calls them different, and 6 cannolis. So Serena, get out your money and bid. So you also get that too. So let's start the bidding. Carol, Castellano, 25. Come on, guys, let's see what you can bid.
I got 20. Wait.
This can end the tradition. All right, let me ask you a question, Ida. Where did you intern this summer? For a financial company, didn't you? Holy mackerel. Oh, I pay her taking. This could be the last year of this tradition. I'm getting embarrassed. Not really, but whatever. Who's that? John Aberman says 30. Castellano says 40. 45 for Stevens. 50. Hey, Carol, how many of these pictures you have? And you have at least a dozen of these pictures, right? She plays audio guard. So we have 50 for Castellano, 60 for Stevens, 60 for Castellano said 6,000. It's hard to hear me. What'd you say? 70, somebody said. I don't know.
Castellano said 70.
Thank you, Richard. Castellano said 70. 75. I love when she bids against herself. It's great. Come on. Eagle 1, bet out Eagle 2. There you go. Go it again. One more. You know, anything. Billy's so quiet back there. Every year he shuts his mouth. Says, Carol, enough is enough. 100 for Castellano. 100. 100 going once. Twice. Sold the Castellano for $100. Let's get these auction gifts rolling. We got a program to do. 3 auction now and then the program.
We have a lovely donation from Rosa. If you had an opportunity to visit her exhibit table, she had very...
Microphones.
Okay, okay. We have a lovely donation from Rosa Santiago, from Rosa Mariposa. Okay, and she has lovely products in here, and I know that I stopped by her table and I
bought some of her soaps, and she's very convincing. I'm going to look as lovely as Rosa. So please do consider bidding on this. It is stuffed full, and I can tell you, Rosa, can you give an idea of how much this might have cost if you bought it out of hand?
I got
Can I get that on a t-shirt?
$25 and lovely products. And thank you, Rosa. It also includes a cookbook.
You have $30.
$30. Thank you, Mary Jo. 50. 75 Debardinas.
Mary Jo, 60.
60, Mary Jo. A cooking book also. Okay, who was the last?
65.
65, okay. Excellent, Mary Jo. Now, you're not going to let her win, are you, Linda?
Oh, there we go. We're learning fast. We have 70 for Mary Jo.
Yeah.
75.
Excellent, 75. It has fragrant candles and creams and soaps, and you look like you went back in life by 20 years after you made beautiful products. And Mary Jo doesn't even need to look at you, so.
We have $20 over here again.
Send me a check, $20.
$8 for Mary Jo. $8 for Mary Jo going once. Twice. Sold to Mary Jo Radio. Okay, before we get out to scholarships, we have 2 more auction gifts. What do we have next? Where's our committee? Thank you, Mary Jo. Okay. You have the order. Okay, good.
Hey gang, it's Anne Marie Cook. We've all had a wonderful chef week at our convention, and now it's time to think about what you might be doing to kick back tomorrow when you go home. So I think one of the solutions it might be when you get home tomorrow, you might want to have in your possession this cozy basket that's our next auction item. It's the basket is filled with a couch throw that's made of patchwork squares in velvet and satin. So it's really nice to have against your skin. They're in shades of gold, cream, and brown. And then we have some gourmet French hot chocolate mix and 2 Johnstone Brothers cups and saucers to go with it. Some Yardley oatmeal and lavender soap. A lavender plug-in sensation, I think it's called. And we have some spa flip-flops, terry flip-flops, and a hand-crocheted cowl for when it gets colder outside. So that's, I think, what we have in here. So how about somebody want to start at $20?
Come on, Ida.
$24. Nina, $30.
$30 for Debardinas.
Oh, I said
35 for Angela.
40, Nina.
40 Nina. 41. Ida. 41 for Ida. 50 for Angela. 50 for Angela. Do I hear her? Any more bids? 55, Mom. 55 from Paul. 60 for Angela. 60 once.
Come on, Ida.
65. 70. Angela really wants this. It's 70. 70 for Angela. Go with
Marty
that.
says 75.
75. Go ahead, Angela. 80 for Angela. Hey, do I hear 85? 80 once. 80 twice. Ida, last chance. Okay, so to Angela for 80.
Thank you, everyone. It is my pleasure to introduce Carol Castellano, who's going to give the award part of the dinner here tonight. Carol?
So the first award that we're giving tonight is the Raising Expectations Award. The recipient of this year's Raising Expectations Award began his life as a POBC kid. As the years went on and he grew up, he took his own place in the Federation and began his years of service to the affiliate. Many adjectives can be used to describe our recipient. He is dedicated and reliable, spending many hours working on affiliate projects, researching things for us, and finding out the answers to questions. He keeps us all on the straight and narrow, sending out reminder messages whenever we need them, which in my case is often. Joe says he has the fastest fingers in the East, that they wouldn't even be done with their phone call and the email would be already out to the list. Our recipient serves as the webmaster for NFBNJ and also for other affiliates. He has held positions on the chapter, division, and affiliate levels, most recently serving as secretary and then treasurer. Outside of his many NFB activities, our recipient enjoys golf, karate, and took part in our surfing adventures. And as Joe told you this afternoon, he balances on a surfboard just as well as he balances our books as treasurer. Ladies and gentlemen, I am very proud to introduce the recipient of this year's Raising Expectations Award, Brian Mackey. As Brian makes his way to the podium, I would like to read the words of the plaque. The National Federation of the Blind of New Jersey, Live the Life You Want, presents the Raising Expectations Award to Brian Mackey in recognition of invaluable contributions to the quality of life of the blind of New Jersey and the nation. Your contribution. Sorry, Brian. Your invaluable contributions have enhanced each of our lives. Whatever we have asked, you have answered. We call you our colleague with respect. We call you our friend with love. Together, with love, hope, and determination, we transform dreams into reality. November 3rd, 2018, from the grateful members of the NFBNJ.
First, I want to thank Joe for, as we all know, he has cared for me over the years. He has shared his knowledge with me over the years. He has helped me grow into who I am. And he has made a difference in my life. And I also want to thank you as an affiliate. you have allowed me to serve. First as your secretary, and more frequently as your treasurer. And of course, you have believed in me more than I did in myself before. And I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Brian.
Got it? The picture? All right, we want a website. Oh, that's fine. Got it?
Okay. Congratulations, Brian.
I guarantee that picture will be up before we're out of this room on the website. I guarantee it.
It's probably already there.
Ryan, I said a few words today at our meeting this afternoon, and I want to just say this again. This young man, and he's a man, has put many hours into this affiliate, trying to be the best he can, always giving 100%. I would say after a long convention, Brian, take tomorrow off. I don't want to see an email from you in 48 hours. That will last about 48 seconds. But Brian, my hand is here as friendship to you. Good luck to you, Brian. You're still part of this affiliate because he's our webmaster. We'll see him at convention. He may sneak into the New Jersey affiliate every so often. You just never know. Brian, thank you very much. Ryan Stevens. Ryan, you want to go forward with what you have? Ryan? Brian, you can step here too, I guess. Ryan has a, Ryan, Brian, Aaron, I get mixed up. Sometimes I don't know my name. You know, sometimes I don't know my name. I have to look at my shirt. It says Fruit of the Womb. Gotta keep coming. Look my voice. Yep.
All right, good evening, everybody. Ryan Stevens, President of the Garden State Chapter. Oh, I was on the other, President of the Garden State Chapter, and obviously Brian had been our secretary for a number of years, did a great job. And another member of our chapter was his mom, Linda Mackey. She did so much for us. She always kind of tracked down the places to go to for our holiday parties, and did a lot of kind of reconnaissance and research for us. And she's always willing to help everybody to start and into the chapter meetings. And I'd like to present her with a little token. If she would come up, please. Linda, here is a little bouquet of yellow roses. Yellow being the color of friendship, and we'll let you give it to you as well. And you know, we give this to you not only as one of our members, but also as our friend, and it was our greatest thing.
You know, the last time I bought my wife yellow roses when they were on sale. I'm in trouble. It's a long walk home from here. Oh my goodness, it's a long walk.
Okay, the next award tonight is the Agnes Allen Distinguished Service Award. The Agnes Allen Distinguished Service Award is presented to organizations or individuals who are not members of our organization, who have made substantial contributions to improve the quality of life for the blind in New Jersey. It is the highest honor that we give as an affiliate, and we regard the recipients of this award as true friends of the blind, instrumental in championing programs that will benefit the blind community, and dedicated to initiatives that will generate hope and promise in innumerable ways. The award honors the life of Agnes Allen, who was born in 1924 and who continues to be an independent, confident, capable, and optimistic blind woman with a lifelong love of learning and education and a commitment to living a life of service. In her career, Agnes instructed blind and deafblind students and encouraged them to tackle any obstacle that stood in the way of achieving independence. Her commitment to Braille literacy is evidenced by the fact that she was still tutoring blind students after her 90th birthday. A long-standing and active member of the National Federation of the Blind, Agnes served as an officer of both the New Jersey and Connecticut affiliates, helping to found chapters, participating in state and national conventions, and a long time volunteering in our Braille mentoring program. Her example of generosity, love of neighbor, and joyful, positive attitude has been a great blessing to her family, friends, and colleagues. She is deeply respected and dearly loved, and we are very happy to give an award in her honor. The recipient of this year's Agnes Allen Distinguished Service Award is the Middle Atlantic Blind Golf Association. The story of the Middle Atlantic Blind Golf Association, or MABGA, begins in 1948 when Robert Allman, blind since age 4, created a plan to share the joys of golf with blind friends and to organize a competitive blind golf program in the local blind community and beyond. I imagine Bob was a fine organizer. He had already excelled in many areas of life, including as a wrestling champion and Phi Beta Kappa recipient at the University of Pennsylvania, a husband in a successful marriage, a father of 4 sons, and the principal in a busy law practice. Over the past 70 years, the organization has grown and thrived due to the enthusiasm of its many volunteer coaches and the cooperation and generosity of the many golf clubs that sponsor outings. The coaches, so generous with their time and talents, say that they enjoy seeing a blind golfer hit a good shot more than hitting one themselves. In 1993, MABGA, along with the Philadelphia section of the PGA and many local golf professionals, launched its junior golf program for blind and visually impaired boys and girls ages 5 to 21. Each young golfer receives individual lessons and equipment, not to mention pizza and soft drinks at each event. This program is the first known joint effort between the PGA section and a regional blind golf association. MABGA's goal is to extend this program to blind children across the entire country. Events are held at the pitch and putt course and practice green at the Overbrook School for the Blind in Philly, spearheaded by our friend Norman Kritz. Norman unfortunately could not be with us tonight. Today, MABGA has almost 200 blind junior and senior golfers and volunteer coaches. The junior golf program has expanded to North Jersey with sites coming soon in Atlanta and Baltimore. So it is with great pleasure that we bestow the Agnes Allen Distinguished Service Award to the Middle Atlantic Blind Golf Association. Accepting on behalf of the organization is Mario Tabia, and the plaque reads, the National Federation of the Blind of New Jersey, Live the Life You Want, presents the Agnes Allen Distinguished Service Award to the Middle Atlantic Blind Golf Association in recognition of invaluable contributions to the quality of life of the blind of New Jersey. Through the efforts and dedication of volunteers over the past 70 years, MABGA has enabled blind children and adults to learn the skills of golf, experience the pleasure of the sport, and enjoy one more opportunity to be included in the mainstream of society. This award recognizes MABGA's efforts to raise expectations, increase opportunity, and facilitate integration of the blind into society on the basis of equality. Together, with love, hope, and determination, we transform dreams into reality. November 3rd, 2018, from the grateful members of the NFBNJ. Mr. Tabia?
Thank you very much for that. Used up all my material. You know, when I first walked in, I met Mickey, and he came up and he introduced himself to me, and he says, we have somebody that works with us. He says her brother is one of the top 5 golfers in the world. And I said, yeah, that's my sister. She's in Chicago. Now, I didn't tell Mickey this. I'm not mad at my sister. Now, first of all, I'm number 4 in the world. And she should embellish, my ranking and make me 3rd or 2nd. Second, I learned a lot from Carla's speech. I learned a lot from Carla's speech. I never walk with a cup of coffee with my favorite sweater. And the third thing I learned is when you're the high bidder, you never have to bid against yourself. You can let somebody else bid. Okay. No, but thank you. I really want to thank the NFB of New Jersey for recognizing the Mid-Atlantic Blind Golf Association with this award. Norman Chris was their first option to be here. Norman is the director of the Junior Blind Golf Program. And Carol's speech, she mentioned some of Norman's accomplishments, but one of the things she didn't mention is that we're currently working with Brooklyn, the blind school in Brooklyn, to put up a golf course there. We've already got funding, so we're trying to spread Norman's goal and MABGA's goal is to put a golf course on every blind school in the country. Right now we have Overbrook, and as she said, we're talking to a blind school in Baltimore, in Georgia, and we're very far along with the conversations in Brooklyn. So I want to thank you, and before I relinquish the mic, I want to tell everybody a little story about how the Mid-Atlantic Blind Golf Association affected my life. About 20 years ago, when I stopped working, I guess I got to talk even closer to the microphone. Yeah. I stopped working, and it was very difficult for me to find out what was going to be the next chapter in my life. And I was trying to struggle there, trying to figure out what I was going to do. And a good friend of mine told me about the Mid-Atlantic Blind Golf Association. And she knew that I was an avid golfer and told me about the group. And I joined that group. I thought it was just wonderful that there was a blind group where I could golf with my peers and get out. You know, we play 35 times a year. And it's really changed my life. And so much so that I'm very indebted to the organization and been with them for 20 years. Today I'm the president. With me is Marty Jensen, who's the treasurer. And we devote, all our time. And I want to take a little bit of credit for Brian Mackey's success. About 2 or 3 years ago, I was the webmaster of the Mid-Atlantic Blind Golf Association, and they had changed the program to use the website. And I approached Brian, and I said, Brian, would you take the time and learn how to be a webmaster? And Brian said, well, I don't know how to do it. And he said, well, I'll help you as much as I can. And it took him about a year to get the website ready, but he learned it on his own. And since then, he spread out to working with the NFB and other affiliates. So we're very proud of Brian. Brian is actually a graduate of the Junior Blind Golf Program. So I want to thank you all for this honor. On behalf of MABGA, we very much appreciate NFB recognizing us. Thank you very much.
Oh, anyone on the camera? Couple people take pictures so it comes out good.
My best smile.
I can't hold my stomach anymore.
You were holding it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's mine.
Oh, that's mine.
Oh, that's mine. Oh, that's mine.
Put this on the website.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
Okay, we're not done with you yet.
Oh.
Thank you very much. Stay right here, Mr. Tubby. Now, I was a golfer many years ago, but I was a blind. I should have been a blind golfer because I was a terrible golfer. I always carried 2 golf balls with me just in case they went in the woods. Pretend they didn't go in the woods and then play that ball. Anyway, we have a gift for you, sir. Hold that just for a second. You know, when you play golf, you hit these nice shots and you pick up a piece of turf along the way. So in here we have a portable divot that we carry. Good. Oh, boy. You know how to take that. Your own portable divot. Take it wherever you have to go. Take off, boy.
Okay, there's a little sign on it that says the National Federation of the Blind of New Jersey congratulates the Middle Atlantic Blind Golfers Association on receiving the 2018 Agnes Allen Award. And there was an extra golf ball on there.
So, usually there's only 2 awards, but we have a third one tonight. It's a surprise award. I would like to call the committee of the surprise award committee up. Jamie, I'm going to hand the mic over to you.
I'll take a little bit from Mario. He's learned a few things tonight. The one thing I learned is when I go home tomorrow, anybody that used this bike is probably going to get sick.
No,
I'm sick. I just lost my voice from last night having a great time. For many of you that were in the building this morning, I was lucky enough and fortunate enough to do the invocation. I talked to you about separating from real happiness and excitement yesterday, real happiness and excitement today, to a moment of sacred space. And to me, this is that now. Today is my mom's birthday, and it's also celebrating Joe's 25th year here. Where's my brother? Is he right next to it? There's someplace. Right next to me, that's perfect. In addition to me here, her sister, and your lovely wife, Judy, and your kids, Jimmy and Kelly. I'll have Carol tell you who the team is because she's going to pick this up after me. But, you can do it later on here? Okay. Robert and Joey are here, and Richard's here. My 3 brothers, they wanted a free turkey dinner. It cost me $120. I know it. So Joe, in honor of the fact that you're a time-constraining person, you have to get this done in 15 minutes, and I said I could do it in 10. This is your 15 minutes of fame in 10 minutes. Anytime you're ready, Linda. Okay.
Oh.
Okay, we're waiting for the music. When I find myself in times of trouble, Brother Joe, he comforts me, speaks his words of wisdom, NFB. And in my hour of darkness, there is still a light that shines on me. Because of his compassion to NJ, NFB, sing with me, NFB, 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 never felt better, never felt better, NFB. So we're gonna go one more time. We'll try and sing this song. Oh my, I messed up. It's all right. Well, I'll talk in a second. This is supposed to be the second verse, and I talked through it. It's okay. NFB never felt better. NFB, one more time. NFB, 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 NFB. Never felt better. NFB. So we're gonna do it again. There you go. That's the right music for the break. When I find myself in times of trouble, you're going to sing with me. Ready? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, sing. When I find myself in times of trouble, Brother Joe, he comes to me. Speaking words of wisdom and peace. In my hour of darkness, and in my hour of darkness, there is still a light that shines because of his compassion. Because of his compassion. NFB. Let me hear it. NFB. 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 Never felt better. Never felt better. NFB. Second verse. For 25 years you've been our leader. Transform dreams to reality because of your compassion to NJ, NFB. We care, we share, we grow. These are the words of Joe Ruffalo. And yes, you've made a difference to NJ, NFB. Here we go. NFB, 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 NFB. Never felt better. Never felt better. NFB. One more time. NFB, 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 NFB. Never felt better. NFB. Thank you. Everybody here tonight, we have a copy of that. If you'd like to take the words home with you, because guess what? We might be singing it in 2 years. Anyway, Joe, last thing I want to say is you're a great brother. I have 3 great brothers because they're here. I have to say that. But you're a terrific mentor to me through the NFB, and I value you. I treasure you, and I'm so happy to call you my brother, but more importantly, I'm happy to call you my best friend.
Yes.
Because of the 25 years of humor, shall we say. Suffrage, experience with our fearless leader, Joe. We have collected the best of the jokes. It's your to the amazing Joe Ruffalo on the occasion of his 25th anniversary as the president of the National Federation of the Blind of New Jersey from his grateful members. He has worked tirelessly and with deep dedication to empower the blind of New Jersey and of the entire nation with his unflagging energy, inspiring attitude, contagious enthusiasm, kind-hearted generosity, and all-encompassing love. Joe, your contribution is measured not in steps, but in miles. I'd like to acknowledge the team that worked to put this book together. I was on the team along with Janie and Brian Mackey and Linda Mackey, Linda Melendez, Jerry Marino, Mary Jo Pernica, Adam Shepaniak, Ellen Sullivan, and Kat Butner, who gave us the original idea. I'm happy to tell you that this book is for sale. We've got print copies, braille copies, and audio copies. And the prices are $75 for the print and $25 each for braille and digital version. And Janie is going to give us a sample right now of the audio.
Who's the narrator? You're gonna hear it. Hold on. Everybody went. Oh, yeah.
So we had this book done, obviously, and we worked tirelessly and we laughed our heads off the whole time. But I want to play this. It was done through Adam Shepaniak, a narrator. Got somebody to come in. And I have my book player here. And if there's a reason to get a digital book player and you don't have one, this is it. So I'm going to play the thumb drive. Hold on. It should be louder. This is great.
Convention. The following is an audio description of a commemorative book given to Joseph Ruffalo to recognize the 25th anniversary of his presidency of the New Jersey chapter of the National Federation of the Blind. Front cover, photo of a smiling Joe Ruffalo wearing a red booted tie and holding a long white cane. Text, Joe Ruffalo, president of the NFBNJ. Page 1. This book is dedicated to the amazing...
You just read all that. So let's just going to fast forward a little bit and just get to a different spot to get a little taste of it.
A woman in her 80s was driving with a friend. She went through a red light. The friend didn't say anything. But then she went through another one. The friend said, "Do you realize you just went through 2 red lights?" "Oh," said the other woman. "Was I driving?"
This can be yours for $25. I have with me right now to give to you, Joe, the hard copy, the braille copy, and the USB copy. There you go. But hold on a second. Joe has something to give to our national rep. Because Joe is giving our national rep the same thing. Along with other goodies. And it wouldn't be a Jersey bag without salt water tapping. And I just want to say that we worked tirelessly on getting this together. Linda Mackey did all the formatting in Shutterfly. Carol Castellano did our reading. And the National Center, the National Federation of Blind of Baltimore, printed out the braille copies for us. And Adam kind of did the tape. And yeah, so thank you, Joe, and we love you. Oh, and we have for you to bring with you back to the National Center a complete set of this for President Micabono, Dr. Maurer, and Anil Lewis. Yes.
Oh, yes. And the funds that we raise from this will all go to the Rosa Joe Memorial Scholarship Program. By the way, chapters and divisions, get ready in January. We're going to be asking for funds to help support this book. Because we laid out the funds to do it. So be ready to make those motions.
I want you to know the book includes some of the photographs that we were discussing before. You will like them.
So for those of you that are interested, and there should be a lot of you, at the back of the room, at the end of the banquet, we'll be happy to take cash for anything you'd like. $75 for the book. You can let you look through it too. Don't memorize it. You probably did because Joe told me so many times. And the Braille book is there, and also the thumb drives, the USB ports. So thank you very much for supporting it and supporting my parents. And of course, Joe, this is all for you, baby.
I just want to say, we have a limited number of supplies, but we can take orders at some point. We can only get just so much done in time. Thank you, and we love you, Joe. Here's Mike.
We love it.
Can you believe I'm at a loss of words? No, Jerry said no, I'm not at a loss of words. Just let me say this, please. I want to say this to everyone here. I give my heart and soul to you because you give it to me. I give you my honor because you give me your honor. I give you respect because you give me your respect. This is a moment. Of course, I'm going to forget. I thought they were doing my eulogy for a moment. I said, can it get better than this? If I drop that right now, this is what I want to do. But 25 years is a long time. Probably 2 more years to go. I'm not leaving. I'll always be here. I'll always be your guiding light because you're my guiding light. So the words that I give to you now, they may sound simple. Thank you, but they're not. They're from my heart to your heart. Keep doing the work that we're doing. I'm only one person. You are hundreds out there. We need to keep moving forward. We keep needing to do the work of the Federation. And remember, the National Federation of the Blind, NFB, means what?
Never felt better.
You got it. Thank you so much. I can't tell you.
Yay!
Joe's sign is on the phone from
How's he made
All right. Now, I just want to know something for this committee. I work you hard on this agenda. Where did you find time to do